That's a really good question. There's so many things. So Charlie is my corgi. I think.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, but keep it simple.
Okay. So again, my name is Ahmed Umran. I'm a health and fitness coach. I've been doing this for almost 12 years now. And yeah, that's basically me.
Or tell us about Charlie.
So Charlie is my corgi, who is basically the mascot of the gym. We've had him for almost, I think, 9 years now. So we got him when he was kind of a puppy, like around 6 months old. And then when people used to come and train in my house, he used to chill with us in the room and just chill. And then I brought him to the gym when we opened up, and he's been there ever since.
And does he bother anyone? Or?
No, like corgis generally are like, they're guard dogs in a way, and they're herding dogs, right? So when people first walk in, he barks a lot. But his bark is just to kind of announce to people that, oh, there's someone here. Or he's announcing to me or to like maybe Donna, my wife, oh, there's someone here, just FYI, just let you know I'm doing my job. But once you get used to that, and if you're a dog person and you know this, you don't really care about it. Then eventually some people who are scared, they kind of have to get used to him. And then when they do get used to him, they realize that he's pretty friendly. He's just doing his job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun, I haven't seen a dog in any other gym.
Yeah. It's strange. It's a rare occasion actually. But he does pretty well. Yani. I brought him yesterday and he was chilling. He was just relaxing. I throw the ball for him because obviously if it's too hot outside, he can't play. So that's like a perfect place for him to play and like run around. So
yeah. Okay, great, fantastic. And tell us about your transition from home gym to business, and how's business?
Yeah, so I originally used to train people in different gyms all over Bahrain. Unfortunately, that I realized that wasn't very time efficient, and I'm a very time sensitive person. Like I hate being late for somebody. So what I decided on is that, okay, I'm going to shift from training people from one place to another to literally it was my old room. And I literally installed a pull-up bar. I had a few weights here and there. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have these people come to my house instead. Walk in, come to my room, my old room, and just train there where I have enough equipment for let's say a small group class of 2 or 3 people. And then that's how it built up from there. And then eventually I was like, okay, I need to make this actually official. So then I transitioned into a small space in Ashraf, very small, I think it was 150 square meters. I'll put some grass over there so we can do some running or moving. And then from there we just expanded gradually.
And how's business like? Generally speaking, how's the industry here?
Shuf, the industry is very saturated because so many people are getting into fitness, and unfortunately what they confuse fitness and business by saying, oh, I love fitness and I love exercising and I love coaching people, so let me open a business to do that. And they forget that with the business comes a lot of expenses like rent, right? Like investing in coaches, investing in your finances and things like that, and technology to kind of make sure that you're keeping up with the time. Thankfully for me, I made that mistake, but it was a good mistake because I also enjoyed the business side of things once I opened it up and I learned what to do. So this is what I feel it is. A lot of people have opened up businesses and they don't really know how to run it. They know how to be really great coaches, but you can separate that and join a gym that will give you the opportunity to coach people. So yeah.
Great. So has it been a fun business journey, or do you prefer just being a fitness instructor?
Honestly, I'm loving both. There are the positives and negatives to both sides. So I love the training, but I'm an ambivert. So generally speaking, I love entertaining and interacting with people, but I need a break once in a while. So when I was first doing it and it was just me, I used to get so drained by the end of the day. Like I couldn't even communicate or talk to people. Like my wife, I'll come home and I'm like, listen, I can't talk. But later on, when I had coaches to help me and I was able to go whenever I wanted, just to interact with people, socialize, but then have that time to come back home and spend time with my wife, that made it much more enjoyable. And then I could focus on the business side by tracking my numbers, tracking how much money we've made, all of that stuff. So
tell us about the age impact on someone like exercising early on, or someone exercising as they get older.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the impact, so I always tell people it's never too late to start. I have someone with me who's literally started at 62. And again, he's much more stiff. It's harder for him to move. It's harder for him to actually get into the right positions. But he has progressed so much over the span of like 2 or 3 years that it's incredible to see. He's carrying much heavier. He's able to move much more with much more flexibility. But starting earlier is always better because our bodies naturally tend to decline in strength and power with every decade. There's a certain percentage that we lose. So the earlier you start, the less muscle mass you will lose as you grow older. And muscle mass is like literally the foundation of our body because it helps keep our metabolism high, helps keep our body functioning, helps us move in a more efficient and effective way. So it's super important to start early. I recommend every single person to start strength training in some shape or form early on. Yeah.
Do you have any personal fitness challenges that you yourself kind of battle with?
Do you mean like for me myself or like
yourself?
Yeah. There's always something, right? Like I was a very active person when I was a kid, right? So I moved a lot and got a lot of injuries, and I feel like those, if I knew what I knew now, those injuries either wouldn't have happened because you reduce the likelihood of getting hurt when you strength train, while at the same time I would also be able to cope with the injury much better if I did get hurt. So like I have like, for example, a knee injury, a shoulder injury, but so now what I do is I manage around that and I still personalize my own strength training like I personalize every other person in the gym who comes in. I personalize my own training and I say, okay, I can't do this exercise. Maybe I can do this instead. Or I can't do this because of my knee. I'll have to change it up and change it to something more knee friendly.
And how do injuries most likely happen?
Unfortunately, it's multifactorial. So it could be due to your weight, right? It depends on what sport you're doing. It depends on how active you've been, how much strength training you've done, how well you've slept. That's one of the biggest ones, by the way. So sleep, I think they've done like a study that showed that high schoolers who didn't sleep long enough, I think like 5 hours or less, they're like 1.7 times more likely to get injured on that day of not sleeping well. So they become much more susceptible to injury. So there's a lot of things. So it's very hard to determine just one factor on why does someone get hurt.
All right. How would someone go about avoiding injury? Someone who gets injured quite often, or someone who is afraid to join like a gym or to get into fitness because of injuries.
Yeah, to answer that first part, there are certain things you can do. So first thing is strength train. Maybe not first thing, but I'm not putting them in order. But strength train, sleep well, keep your body weight at a decent level, so that your joints are more like don't have as much gravitational and impact force when you land or do something, and be smart with your stress, like managing your stress levels. So stress plays a huge role in like spiking our cortisol level or throughout the day. So managing that can help reduce the likelihood of you getting hurt. To answer your second part, what is find a space or a gym that you feel comfortable with and you know that will provide you with the individualization that you need based on your requirements. Like, I'm looking to help with weight loss, I'm looking to build strength, I have a movement deficiency. So that good gyms will help cater to that and help fix that. So,
And as a fitness coach, what's something you wish more people knew?
oh, that's a really good question. There's so many there's so many things. I wish people knew more on the benefits of, I think if I had to pick two, sleep and strength training. Those, I think, are the main two things that people kind of don't realize the impact that it has on them. Especially like sleeping and how it changes every single behavior that you do the next day is based on how well you sleep. So, in terms of like sugar cravings, in terms of movement, in terms of your decision making, all of that is affected by sleep. So, I think, yeah, those two things.
How about flexibility?
In what sense?
Flexibility in general, like in the general sense. More yoga or more...
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's a really good point. I like to differentiate between two different things. So flexibility and mobility. So flexibility is the ability for your body to get into a specific position passively. What do I mean by that? Is, let's say I'm stretching my hamstrings. Pulling my hamstrings up, I can go to a certain level, right? There's a difference between that and actively just having my leg work to lift my leg up into that hamstring stretch. That is called mobility. The ability for our joints to move based on our muscles firing at the right time. Now, for me, that is more important than flexibility. Flexibility is also important, but mobility, being able to move freely using your muscles, for me is much more important.
Great. And if you have to choose one in between a cool down or a warm up, which one would you choose? If you had to choose one, obviously.
Yeah. For me, it will always be a warm up. We even don't do cool downs in our gym. So the reason why is that a cool down is, let's say, for example, people do cool downs where they stretch. Your muscles are already hot, right, from the workout and the exercise. So when you try to stretch those muscles, they'll go into positions that they wouldn't normally go to, and you're like, oh, I feel more flexible. But that's not necessarily the case. It's the best thing to do is to stretch when you're cold, so that your body actually isn't used to that new range of motion. So for us, we always emphasize warming up properly so that your body is warmed up. And you're again less likely to get hurt while doing a workout.
So warm up.
Yeah.
I needed that for me.
Yeah.
How about the importance of posture?
Yeah, posture is a tricky one because a lot of people think that posture plays a huge role in injuries and like pain and neck pain or whatever it is, right? But at least from what I've learned is that you can have horrible posture but be completely fine, like pain-free. So, or you can have really good posture and still have pain. So sometimes they're not tied with each other. Again, obviously, can improving your posture help reduce your pain? It's possible, but again, it's also multifactorial. Pain is not tied specifically with only posture. So it becomes a little bit of a tricky thing. They call it like symptomatic and asymptomatic. So you can have horrible posture but be asymptomatic in terms of pain, and then you can have really good posture but have symptoms of pain that can come from something else. So
Great, thank you for that. And as a business owner, what are challenges that you have faced?
Uh, I feel like, first of all, client retention. So a lot of people think that they need to focus a lot on bringing in new clients. For me, as a fitness, like a gym facility, what I feel like is more important is keeping the clients you currently have. Because those are the people who've trusted you and who've paid for your services over an extended period of time. So, how do you keep them happy? How do you make sure that they realize that you are looking out for their best interest over a long period of time? So, people, because eventually people think, okay, maybe he's not focusing on me as much as he should. But so, how do you keep that? So, I think that's one. And then I think generally, because I was mainly in the fitness side, the finances of the business, right? So that I feel if anyone just opens a business as a gym, they'll struggle with that if they have no idea what their finances should look like and how to help increase their revenue and while also reducing their cost. So yeah.
Great. Uh, Now on recovery, and I know that's a big topic.
Yes.
Like in recovery, what do you think is the ideal general rule of thumb on that? Like how often should someone exercise?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. Let's start with that, and then we can talk a little bit more on the recovery of that exercise. So for me, I love to give people a general recommendation of around 3 times a week of strength training. And then on top of that, trickle in some kind of cardiovascular work, and maybe some things that you enjoy doing, like let's say some people are very into paddle now or football or some kind of movement-based thing that is more playful. But for me, the baseline should be at least 3 times of strength training and maybe 2 times of cardiovascular work. In terms of recovery from that, again, nutrition plays a big role, right? Of helping you recover, but also obviously sleep. Like that's a big one. If you don't sleep well, you can't recover from your workouts, especially when you're doing a really heavy set of strength training where you're lifting a load that is at your peak level. So
recovery is important, but again, how do you know if you are recovered? Like, how do you feel it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good question. It's hard for, maybe for each person, it's a little bit different, but generally what I like to do is see how you feel when you wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel refreshed? Do you feel good? If you trained a very heavy training session and you feel a little bit sore, that's okay. Obviously, that's normal. But do you feel when you wake up that you want to sleep some more? That's a big sign that maybe you have a little bit of sleep debt and you need to make up for that. And what else? Can you push yourself in the gym? If you had to go to the gym that day, could you push yourself to your 90%, 95%? That's also a good sign that you're recovered. If you can't, you know that you're not 100% recovered and you need a little bit more time off.
Would you prefer to exercise a little sore, or call it a day and try and feel 100%?
Yeah. So soreness is not a good indication of whether a workout was good or not, just to kind of put that out there. But if you had to work out while you were sore, I don't see that as a big deal. If you have a very regimented program, let's say, for example, you go to train in the gym like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? That's like my sessions now. That's why I'm saying that. And you're sore on that Friday from the Wednesday session, I would still go in because it's the habit of going in that matters more than the soreness that you're feeling, because you can always roll that out like with a foam roller, get a little bit of blood flow into that area, and it will actually help reduce that soreness for the next day.
Beautiful. last question, and it's on mental health
Yeah.
and physical activity. What do you think is the correlation on those two?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because I think it's a very it's not brought up enough, but the effect of physical health on your mental health is huge. Like there's a really great book, I forgot by which author, but it's called Spark. And he talks about all of these different mental disorders that that are improved by exercising and moving and strength training. So like things like depression, anxiety, ADHD, all of these things can be improved by sticking and being consistent with a specific routine and habits of going to the gym, because it creates clarity, it creates like the certain endorphins and hormones that are help regulated with those exercises. So that helps make you feel better. And then obviously if you feel better, you're also more likely to go to the gym. Now, it's hard to dictate what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like, do you go to the gym first to help improve your mood, or do you help improve your mood that will help you go to the gym, and then it will be like a good cycle, right? It's hard to determine. Sometimes at least from what I know, it's just drag yourself to the gym. Even if you feel depressed, even if you feel anxious, find a way, not to the gym, but even just exercise at home. And that will help improve your mental state.
Thank you for that. One more question, actually. And
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what's so different or special about AAC.
I think what's special is the fact that, as I told you, our gym is exclusively semi-private training, in the sense that if you want to book at the peak hours, you need to be booked in with our app with a maximum of 5 people, and you get to experience the individualization of a program. So like if you have a specific injury, we would change that program to cater to that, while also creating such a nice and friendly and loving environment. So like all of the people that I know in the gym are now good friends, and they interact with each other. Some people have even like became friends and hung out outside of the gym, which is great. So I feel like creating that was something that I was pretty proud of. A space that you can individualize and actually focus on your exercise, but also at the same time create a nice environment for people to enjoy coming to the gym.
All right, Ahmed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. How do you feel? Do you have anything else that you'd like to share? Say like a message that you'd like people to hear, to know about AEC, about yourself.
No, well, I just want people to find what they enjoy to do in terms of physical movement, because it's so important for every single person to do, and it can look different for everyone, right? Like some people who have a busier schedule might have to do like home programs. Some people who have like kids at home, they might not be able to make it at specific timings, which is completely fine. But make something work for you as an individual. It doesn't have to be at my gym. It can be at any gym, which is more convenient, but find as a way to be accountable. So either like a coach is always better because you can always rely on them, or like a friend to go with to the gym, because that makes you more likely to come to train and to exercise and to push yourself. So
here's a great question for people who cook.
Yes.
So cooking could be strenuous and it could take hours.
Yeah.
Is that considered a workout? Being in the kitchen for 2-3 hours, and cleaning up and serving and then washing up, is that considered sort of, I mean, it's movement, but
Yeah.
could it be considered?
It depends on how much movement you're actually getting in, but it is a form of what they call NEAT. So NEAT stands for non-exercise something thermogenesis. Sorry, I completely forgot what it was called. But and it basically is the exercise that you do that is not in the gym. So let's say you walk up the stairs. That is neat. You do some cooking in your house. That is neat. You blink a lot. That is neat. You tap your fingers. That is neat. And a lot of research has shown that that can make a difference in someone looking to lose weight, for example, because the more neat they do without even noticing, the more likely they're moving their bodies to a calorie deficit that will help them get into what they need, right? A calorie deficit will help them lose weight. So it, yeah, so it could be that, but would it be considered under exercise? Probably not, only because you're not moving your joints into specific like deep ranges of motion. Unless you really bend down and just stay in that position, then you're maybe squatting. But other than that, no, it wouldn't be. But it is still a form of movement. So.
Okay, so it's good for you, but it's not exercise.
No, I wouldn't consider it exercise. I would put it in the NEAT category. So usually when you look at health in general and like energy expenditure, there's like 3 different categories. So it's the BMR. It's like how much energy you burn just by being you, just like by literally standing still and not doing anything. And then there's the exercise part, and then there is the NEAT part. So BMR is like just being yourself and just chilling and just like just surviving as a human being. Exercise is the exercise that you do like playing sports or going to the gym, things like that. And then there's the NEAT part, which is the just general movements that you do throughout the day. And so exercise usually takes up around 20% only of our total energy expenditure, where NEAT is also around 10 to 20%. So it doesn't seem like much, but that can add up over the long term.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And people should check out AEC because it sounds pretty awesome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.